Hey everybody, happy Thursday evening. I am here. I am going to be going through with you recapping of what happened yesterday. Now, every few months there is a QE earnings report that happens with major companies. And it's kind of like an evaluation as to how they're doing and how their numbers are. And they go down the scale and go down the line and seeing how everything was or what they need to work on. It's kind of freaking hysterical is what it is. It's a big joke, especially with the Disney company. I have been glued to this for a few years. I watch news programs on here on YouTube, such as WDW Pro. I watch That Park Place. I watch Valiant Renegade. Now for this, I always watch Valiant Renegade. They go live on the air. They are also pieces of shareholders, these people. I mean, these people just aren't fly-by-nights giving you crappy information. These people are actually legit and they are involved in this. So these reports are just as needing to them than it is to any other shareholder that actually owns part of the Disney company. It's just a joke, it really is, because this shit's going to trigger me. Yesterday was the actual live. It was on for about 5.5 hours. I listened to the whole thing. I watched it. I even had my husband involved in this, so he was, he likes to listen to it too. He doesn't really know too much of the ins and outs, but then I explained it to him and I'll recap it with him, and he says, oh wow, he says, I'm telling you, they are just going downhill. Okay, I'm gonna go through this with you, and then I'll probably stop the video itself, because this shit's gonna trigger the hell out of me, because I was screaming yesterday. I literally, I was talking to the TV in a very loud voice. I'll try not to do it now because it's kind of late. People are sleeping. Anyway, here we go.
I mean, they're just this is nonsense.
No, the whole thing about the venue thing, well, we found it. No, you didn't. No, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened with that, because I told everybody from day one the whole venue thing was going to get... There's no way the venue thing was ever going to happen. From day one, I said that, and guess what?
That's Valiant Renegade.
Here we are. I'm going to tell everybody why.
Don't cite ratings, Valiant. Don't cite ratings, though, because they don't look at those.
Oh, yeah, we don't look at ratings. We don't look at ratings season to season. Bruh, you just tripled your fees with the NBA to like $2.5 billion a year from your previous... Don't tell me you don't look at ratings. You are so full of crap.
Okay, they were recapping of everything yesterday. This is what I do, is I watch the second part of it again, because they do edit out. I mean, it's like over 4 hours that they got to edit out, but it's just insane. It really is.
Encouraged by the results of the quarter, and we'll be happy to take your questions.
Okay, that's Bob Iger
That's
speaking on the phone.
Abbreviated.
And what it is that Bob Iger takes the questions from the investors themselves, and these are big companies that own part of this Disney company, and they're not playing around. The only thing is, and I will say it afterwards, there's certain companies that I listen to, especially because one of them happens to be Morgan Stanley. Okay, that's from Chase Bank, Chase Morgan Stanley. Some of the questions was supposed to be limited to one question at a time, like they always do every year. Oh, please only give one question at a time. Last year, their time was limited to how long they could speak. You're allowed to speak 2 minutes, and then after that, if you keep continuing to speak, we will cut you. We'll cut you off. I thought that was rude anyway last year. But then also last year, we all noticed, and they pointed it out themselves, that Bob Iger, those answers and what he was reading were actually preempted. Okay, so those things were not at an actual live point. The answers seemed like they were already done. It was like it was scripted. And somebody brought something up out here too, because they even said like, oh, well, the scripting thing is one thing, but it just, never mind, just listen, because just listen.
We ask that you please try to limit yourself to one question in order to help us get to as many analysts as possible today.
So they're not talking financials at all right now.
No, they're not. No.
Thanks for your question, Ben.
And I want to say something else. Mexican Iron Man. Mike, Mexican Iron Man Mike. Listen to what he says, and especially at the end. And I'm glad Valiant Renegade actually edited this back into the video and let it go, because he really says what he says at the ending. I mean, I could have applauded, really, because he's true. It's honest. They are actually recapping what was said.
Regarding the timing of the different
Hopefully you can hear it.
technological advances that Adam and his team are working on, they're actually starting to roll out.
It says here,
already,
Disney domestic
and will
parks
continue
down 5% according to Disney earnings report.
throughout the next 12 months. But we're
That's
not
a
gonna
lot.
obviously stop
That's
at the
a
end of the
lot.
year. I
And whose
wouldn't
fault
really
is
call
that?
out any one of
Disney
them
parks and
in terms of
experiences
one
were
having a greater impact than
38%.
the others.
Okay, Disney parks, all the parks, especially Disney World, is 38% of how Disney makes their money. They're 38% of the revenue. It is very important to get these parks going. Unfortunately, you have assholes that are running it. Okay? That's what I wanted to say. Here we go.
Of them. You mentioned page sharing. That's certainly
Weasel.
one. Using technology more and more. For
Everybody who's asking
personalization
questions
and essentially upping our game from an algorithm
are not
perspective,
asking the right
getting
questions.
less out of our control or curation, and more basically into the
Disney
the
Plus
business of
subscribers,
serving the
that's
consumer
another
what the
problem.
consumer wants. We've
They
got
are
some
down
work to do in
700,000.
particularly on
700,000 worldwide subscribers, okay? People dropped out. But the revenues overall for the company still under the rate of inflation. They're nowhere near where they're supposed to be, in other words, okay?
mindful of is that home screen or front screen or the first experience that consumers have has to be more dynamic. Ours was elegant looking but fairly static in nature. The more dynamic it is, the more people are drawn into it. The more
Because you had
people
no
use
content.
it, the more people don't basically
exactly.
take the app out and go elsewhere. You know, that's a big deal. But a lot going on. We're still building his team out. And I'd say that by the end of the year, there'll be significant progress made, but we've already made some progress. We've made some progress.
I'm having a
already.
beer while I'm
Does
watching
he
this.
really think that the problem with Disney Plus is the home screen?
Obviously, lastly, I have to ask, your guidance for high single-digit earnings growth for the year started out with earnings growth of over 40%.
Disney to
Can
bundle
you just
Disney
talk a little
Plus,
bit about
Hulu,
the cadence
and
of earnings growth
ESPN
as we look out
flagship.
through the rest of the year? Thanks.
Given the rapidly evolving.
They are always the ones to do. They want to seem to always get involved in the sports aspect, the ESPN aspect, the gambling aspect. Fix what you started first, okay? They like to stick their foot into a bunch of shit, but it never seems to get finished. It never seems to even start half the time.
Where the business takes us. So
I need to say.
generally speaking, feel better about the balance of the year. We
Cheers.
started out the year
Cheers,
feeling
everybody.
very, very positively about it.
That was vague.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Management's not
Next
afraid of
question,
over-delivering.
On the NBA, can you talk about how you view the path to profitability
This is good.
in the new contract, given the weaker season-to-date ratings and obviously the step-up?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
and then
watch how
on
he answers it.
DTC,
In the NBA, we don't talk about profitability for any one of our licensed sports packages. We obviously
They don't talk
believe,
about it.
In the NBA long term.
She asked a
It's
legit
great
question
sport.
that she's not
It's
going to
growth
even get a
sport.
freaking answer
We
to.
don't really
Okay?
look at ratings year to year that carefully. First of all, it's not even, we haven't even
What?
seen half a season. But
He just caught it, Valiant.
we're not,
Valiant
You
Renegade.
don't look at
distracted by
ratings
You are-
year to year.
he is-
ratings wise in the NBA this season.
What a lying son of a
We're happy
bitch.
to have it for now 11 more years, including the final.
That happened to have been Iron Man Mike, okay? Mexican Iron Man Mike just said that. What a lying son of a bitch. He is.
Clearly has demonstrated over the last couple of years the ability to do that, and we are confident that we will deliver on a consistent basis high quality films and television over the long run. Second, you need really strong technology.
Platitudes,
And this is where we have
platitudes.
said very publicly, well, I think we've all seen the benefit of live.
Bob must wear tap shoes when he's on the phone doing this, because he seems to dance around every friggin' answer that there is, okay? Doesn't get to the actual answer. Watch what they say next.
Just look at ESPN's ratings, as a for instance, or talk to anyone
No, we
in the
didn't look at
advertising
those.
business. Live is basically we're.
They just
further
said they don't
into
look at the ratings.
curve, but the messaging is
Kind of
exactly the same as,
double
as
talk.
I gave you last quarter. Bookings are up in the summer right now, so certainly feeling positive. And obviously we have more of them in, given that we're 90 days later. So certainly the outlook is
numbers.
in that regard.
Right.
But as
Right.
always,
Statistics.
we're going to take a view at this point that it's.
He's not
probably
answering
not
anything.
changing guide in that regard. but
Okay,
off to a
compared to
great,
what?
off
He's
to a
not
great start.
answering anything.
Compared to last year's summer?
Great. Thanks
Compared
for
to
the
this
answer.
quarter?
Compared to
Operator, next
yesterday?
question,
Who
please.
knows?
This is shit.
And then
Okay.
secondly, just on Disney Plus, if you could talk about the outlook for Disney Plus subscriber growth this year. I think you're guiding to essentially flat subs through the end of 2Q.
They lost
What are you
700,000
expecting in
subscribers.
the second half of the year directionally, and what are some of the key factors that are shaping the outlook for the rest of the year? Thank you.
I think I know what it'll say.
Well, they're looking bright.
Yeah, so in terms of ESPN and the NBA, obviously there are a lot of variables that go into
We're not
into
afraid to over-deliver.
P&L, including
Not
the
afraid to
advertising
over-deliver.
market for live sports, which
Didn't
is
deliver shit
obviously
yet.
Very, very strong. As I said earlier in the call,
No answer.
we mentioned low single digits.
No,
next
no
year. We're
answer.
still very much
Absolutely
committed to
not.
that
See,
based
this
on
is
the
why I do. I
aggregate
talk to
of
the
all of
TV set.
all of
I
the
was
things.
livid yesterday.
In terms of outlook for
Single
DTC
digits.
subscribers, our expectation is to grow.
Let's
from
get
here.
excited.
So,
Although I
I
shouldn't
mean,
be
I-
surprised.
we're
That's
basically
true.
sort of slightly up in the first quarter. Will be similar in the second quarter.
Disney
Our
refuses to
expectation is
explain
that
forward
particularly
guidance
as
on
gate
sports
sharing starts
revenues.
to take,
Okay?
Take hold.
They never
and as we
answered
add
the
more
question.
of the
And then he
movie
says, "Oh,
slate
we
that
don't
produced in the back
speculate.
half
We
of
don't
24
elaborate on that."
into the streaming service
These
in
are
25.
questions that your
We think that
investors are
content will
asking.
drive
You
growth
you
as
have
The
well.
data
I'll
does
add-
not
I'll
bear
add
that.
they
to
owe
that.
you owe them an
Actually,
answer.
I'm very pleased with where we are sub-wise for Disney Plus and Hulu. As you know,
Ah!
No, you're not. You
and
lying sack
significantly,
of
fairly
crap.
recently, and expected the churn.
I
would
love
be
them. They're so
significantly
cool.
greater.
They really are.
And it
Such
turned
a
out we
liar.
delivered numbers that were better than we
There
had
you go.
expected.
And this is one of
So
your
our
investors
Disney
sitting
Plus
here
and
telling
Hulu,
you
actually,
this.
we grew subs modestly in
Because
the quarter.
people got
Now,
confused.
while we did that, we also are
Ay,
implementing,
ay,
as we
ay.
talked earlier, these technological advances or enhancements
Bob
They
Iger,
gave
will
Disney-
enable us to lower
Bob
churn
Iger
rates.
declares he's very pleased
No.
with
We
the
have a great
outcome
product pipeline coming.
where they are on. He's very pleased with the level that they're on. How could you? You're lying. Declares we are very pleased with where they are on Disney Plus subscribers. In same quarter, the platform lost 700,000 subscribers. Okay? How can you say that you're okay with it?
Regarding flagship, it's pretty clear that young.
How does he sleep at night? That's what I want to know. How does he
young
sleep at
consumers
night?
Are leaning more and more into streaming experiences, both fixed
don't say.
televisions on walls and mobile devices. And,
He didn't
the
say
more
nothing
ESPN
yet.
can
He didn't
be
say nothing at
present for
all.
a new generation of consumers with a product that serves
Disney
them really well,
refuses to
the better
explain
off ESPN
forward
is.
guidance on
It's
sports
not
revenues.
really designed to preserve
This
a
is the
business.
thing
It's
your
designed
investors
grow
want
a
to know.
business
They're giving you
in a
money.
market that's
What are you
evolving
doing
and
with
changing
our
right
freaking
before
money?
our eyes. We're
Period.
extremely,
Oh my
extremely excited by what's coming and bullish about it because
Bullish.
we think
That's
it's not
another
only a
word
good
he
business
always uses, the
proposition,
word
but it's a
bullish.
sports fan's
And
dream.
optimistic, which he did not use at all yesterday.
Ugh.
I listened to the whole 5.5-hour broadcast.
And thanks everyone for your questions this morning. We want to thank you for joining us and wish everyone
Now they're going to
a good-
discuss
All right,
what they
let's go
just
ahead
heard.
and let me grab some super chats here real quick, and we'll get into
Okay, the super
discussion
chats.
because, that was a giant heaping steaming pile of BS.
I
It
don't
was
know what
a-
I'm more mad at. That A, I got up early for this. B, I went to bed early.
Archer for 5. Thank you all for
It's
sorting through
crazy.
the BS so we don't
Crazy.
have to. Maybe they also blame USAID next. Yeah, right. I can't.
I
Wanted
know
to say
Disney
thanks
has
for loving
operated
it.
like
Oh,
the
okay.
last executive administration
Unbelievable.
for the U.S. government. Like I
You
don't- I
have
don't
one
believe
shot
any
to
of
do
these
this every
answers.
few
I mean,
months,
there's-
and this is the shit you come up
This
with.
is nonsense.
No, the whole thing about the venue thing. Well, we found it. No, you didn't. No, I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened with that because I told everybody from day one the whole
He
venue
did.
thing
He
was
did.
going to get. There's no way the venue thing was ever going to happen. From day
Nope.
one, I said that, and guess what? Derp to derp to derp. Here we are. I'm going to tell
Don't
everybody
cite
why.
ratings, Valiant. Don't cite ratings though, because they don't look at those.
Oh yeah, we don't look at
That's
ratings.
ridiculous.
I have never. We
Oh,
don't.
we don't look at ratings.
Season to
How could
season.
you say
Bruh,
that?
You just tripled your fees with the NBA to like 2.5 billion a year from your previous. Don't tell me you don't look at ratings. You are so full of crap.
You're a sack
John
of
Fox,
shit.
All I hear from Bob is a lot
Bob
of
is a
weaselly
sack of
words.
shit.
Is this what
Period.
it feels like to you guys or the investors? I'm autistic. John,
Yes.
no, it was weaselly. It's definitely weaselly.
There were no numbers at
No.
all other than single-digit growth, low single-digit
Low single-digit OI, operating income growth.
You know what else has low single-digit
Unbelievable.
growth? Inflation.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true.
And
That's
to the
true.
extent, like they bragged
And see
about
what over here
Mufasa,
they show you the
there was
numbers.
a comment in here. I'm going to scroll back up. There was a comment in here that I
Okay,
wanted
they
to
show the
actually
numbers,
find
which
the
is
other one.
awesome.
In some of the Iger remarks, I believe.
They're really happy though, Valiant.
But
with where their
Mexican
subscribers
Iron
are.
Man, what he
In the
says
same quarter that they
is
lost
unbelievable.
700,000 subscribers while essentially giving Disney Plus away for free. We saw the deals. We saw the $1.99
Yeah.
Promos, and they lost 700,000 subscribers.
They
And
still
Bob
lost
Iger comes
anyway,
out and
even
says,
with
"Oh, we're very
practically
happy.
giving the
We're very
channel
happy
away."
with our subscriber levels." It's like, at this point, hot is cold, up is down.
Yep.
In is
What do you
out.
want us to do, buddy? Like,
And his
how
foot up
else are we
his
supposed to
ass.
report
That's
on
what
this?
it should be.
Bob Iger's executive commentary. This is what's attached to the earnings call. If you see here, film and television. Of course, they talk about our theatrical business had an outstanding run. 2024 fueled by renewed creativity
Nope.
at our film studios.
Mufasa didn't do
I
good.
guess he finally admitted.
Moana
that everything is broken.
absolutely sucked
And
at the
it still
theater.
largely is. Don't think.
But what
everything is
Bob
fixed.
said, oh, well, we did
with
very
Disney
well.
becoming the first studio in the industry post-pandemic to
I'd like to
surpass
know what
$5
he's
billion
smoking,
worldwide.
really.
They
Really.
also have released more.
He's lost some brain
major
cells.
$200
It had to
billion
be.
films than anyone else combined. You've got that going for you. And unfortunately, on most of these films since the pandemic, Disney has lost
Absolutely.
lost $1 billion plus.
I was in
since the
shock over
pandemic,
Guardians of the
as
Galaxy 3
theaters
because I
reopened. They
actually
kinda
like
missed
that. I'm a
part.
Guardians of the Galaxy's fan.
Q1 saw impressive performance from Moana 2, which recently
Moana.
crossed $1 billion
Sucked.
globally, which,
It
given the popularity
sucked.
of the first one on Disney Plus, that's what we thought should happen with Moana 2. But here's the part that I like. As well as Mufasa, the Lion King.
That sucked.
And I've been really scratching my head on the performance of this one, which demonstrated extended appeal at the box office and has attracted audiences for several weeks
Right.
beyond its holiday release.
Right.
Um,
But
Disney spent, because I've been seeing the ads, what they don't tell you here is how much extra money Disney had to have spent to drag this thing out. And the kicker is, most of that extra marketing budget that they threw behind this to keep driving stuff after it had a relatively kind of weak opening, it all happened after the end of the quarter. It all happened
that's
after
it.
January 1st.
Perfect
because Mufasa
timing.
Came out Christmas. So it only had a week of operation in 2024. Most of its performance so far has been in 2025
right.
on the calendar.
It totally
in
missed
new
the last
that
quarter
we won't hear reported
earnings.
on until May from
Right.
Disney.
Right.
But they also pumped in, God knows, an extra 50, maybe $100 million into the extended marketing on this thing.
That
Just to be
information,
private.
in other words,
people-
that information never really made it for the Lion King, or even Mufasa actually, but the Lion King. It never made it toward. They nicked it right in between the last earnings and the next earnings, so it really didn't register properly. How convenient, right? How convenient.
On streaming can hurt your box office, but the box office does not necessarily correlate to streaming figures. Which is
Streaming
another
service. That's
thing
all they
that
give a
Hugh
shit about
Johnston
is
was
the
touting
streaming
on
service,
CNBC this
the
morning.
sports with ESPN, because they
I
got
don't know,
deals
it's
going
just
with
trying to
them,
call all the data
and
at
their
the same time
subscriptions
here,
on
and
their
you get a
streaming
complete
service.
picture of
That's all
what's
they
going
care.
on.
They
You see
never
all the areas
mentioning.
where they don't-
Never mentioned about the parks. If you noticed, there was nothing really about the parks. That's your moneymaker right there. There's your revenue.
streaming service.
This is bullshit.
And a streaming service that they have not
Bullshit.
finished paying for, at least insofar as we know. We know they're going to owe probably another $5 billion. I'm really surprised that we haven't. I don't think anything definitive has been said. one way or the other.
Oh,
It's not in the statements here. They've got the Fubo stuff and they've got the
Right.
Reliance deal, but they're not talking about that Hulu deal. Which, by the way, hey, we called that on that Park Place that they wouldn't have the Hulu deal done by the end of 2024.
There you go.
This is, all right, I gotta sign off. I got
Here he
issues
goes.
going on
Listen
the East
carefully.
Coast that are waking me up anyways. I
Mexican
got my
Iron
phone's
Man
blowing up.
Mike.
So I just want to give a few parting thoughts as an investor and just tell you what I think and see from my limited seat, which is that I am completely disgusted and disappointed with institutional investors that seem to treat this company like it's some kind of stray puppy that always needs to be coddled and saved. Now, when I sit on these things and I listen to Comcast or I listen to almost any other one of these, there are detailed questions. They have read the report. They're looking at some numbers. They're bringing up old initiatives.
They're doing their job.
With Bob Iger, nothing. We had nothing volunteered and we had nothing questioned. For example, had I been an investor or somebody on this call, I would ask some simple questions like, Bob, typically
Whoops, he's going
about
in
your
now.
banner flagship offerings in cinema.
Whoops.
What are your projections for how your cinematic releases are going to do, and what's your analysis of how the ones have done?
These
in
are the
this past
questions he would have
calendar year?
asked.
That
Why
we
didn't the
just,
investors
that-
ask them?
that we
That's what
just
we're
wrapped
trying to
up.
find
Another
out.
one could be, we recently saw that you converted $1 billion worth of what should have been a highly profitable hotel into office space. How did we come to that decision to deploy that asset? In
That's
that
another
way? Bob,
piece of shit move.
Last year, you announced that we're going to invest up to $1 billion in something amazing called a Fortnite initiative.
It never
To
happened.
take the company into gaming to promote its merchandise and do in-game sales. What is the status of that? And when can we expect that to hit the bottom line? I don't get any of this. And finally, the easiest one and the best one to me would be Bob. You spent billions of dollars buying almost, it was about 10 years ago, Bob, that you entered into negotiations and completed a purchase agreement that was then executed to purchase Star Wars. Why now, as we approach damn near a decade later, are we seeing that asset sitting on the vine? What happened there, Bob?
Yeah, Bob.
But we don't get any of that, do we, Bob?
No, you didn't
We don't
get
any
shit.
of that. So as an investor, I am exasperated. I'm kind of having the feeling that I have when people ask me, do I go to gamble? I don't gamble because I don't go to casinos because I think it's a waste of my money because my life is a gamble because on any given day, I don't know what problem I'm going to have to solve for what client. So I always say that I'd rather go take $100 bill, wrap it around a cigar and smoke it because at least I'd enjoy the scent of the cigar. In this case, I think it is fine. I am now for the first time out loud able to say that I think I should just do what Culture Casino told me to do a year ago. I should sell the stock and just let the 20 or 30 years go by where I'm only going to take a 3% loss because I'm so far upside down with my average cost basis of this piece of crap company. Bob is an awful CEO, and anybody that follows this company and is rooting for it lives in delusion. But I guess that's the world in which we live. Thanks for having me. Sorry I'm such a downer today.
No, you are not. No, you are not. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just the audacity of this going on. And it's just, he danced around all the answers. He never really fully answered. But I'm going to say something that somebody else mentioned yesterday also on one of the live, as it was actually happening, one of the speakers. You notice like these questions that the investors are asking are almost seems like upon asking the questions, they were most likely coached. And they were most likely coached on what they can actually ask during that phone call. Now that makes sense to me. In other words, we'll monitor. What is the exact question that you want to ask? Oh, okay. So you want to ask us this. Okay, well, can you, in a roundabout way, say it differently, or say, you know what I'm saying? They're coaching how you. In other words, Disney. Disney doesn't like negativity. We know this, but the fact that they're going to run how the questions are even being asked. I mean, we're not stupid people. We figured all this shit out. We're not stupid. It's just how this company is doing this. And Bob does not like negativity. Bob wants everything to be okay. And Bob is pretending that everything is okay, which in fact it's not, as you can see. Your numbers are falling. You're falling. You are falling. You're basically done. I am going to have such a laugh. Please give me this laugh May 22nd, when Epic Universe absolutely opens. Now, the resorts opened. I seen all the little content creators going to the resorts. I seen some of the reviews about how the resorts are. Yes, there are problems. There are certain problems. They will fix it, like a leak here, a thing here, no hot water here, no hot. Stop with the nitpicking. I notice the fact that not too many Disney content creators were actually invited. Most of the content creators that went to Stella Nova were actually paying customers. I thought that was wild. That was real. I think one of them, and I forget which one, that was actually invited, because he said it in the beginning, I would like to thank Universal for having me out today. So that guy was actually sponsored. But I don't know the rest. I know some of them, a lot of them actually paid their own way to come in. They made their own reservations and they came in. I hope when it is time for the actual big, huge press release of these wonderful hotels and park events, I hope that Universal remembers who treated them good and who treated them like shit. Because, you know, it's always like the arch enemy. I mean, Disney and Universal always being pinned up against each other, okay? They're rivals. We know that. But you got to admit that Universal is doing a lot of good things. They are doing so many good things. That Disney is just... It's like they're pretending that nothing's happening. Stick your head in the sand. Go right ahead. May 22nd, your time is coming. Your time is going to be over. It's just about over now. It's just about over now. I know it is for me. Okay? I know it is for me. And again, I'm going to repeat myself for this. Being a fan for 29 years, we cannot get past the 29th year to even make a trip or some kind of event, my husband and I, to make it to celebrate the 30th year of going to Disney World. This is very... You know, I knew this shit was going to come. This day was going to come, and how it was, but how it's happening is not fair at all. You had, and I'm saying this to Disney and whoever else is listening, Disney, you have good people. You have people that dedicated to adults, that dedicate to adult children, I should say. We were in our 30s when we were going. Two people that dedicated so many years of going to your theme parks, buying merchandise, just enjoying your company in general. We have never thought about going anyplace else, okay? Never. And that is the God's honest truth. People, our friends and family, we used to get ragged on. Like, how could you keep going down there? What is wrong with you? Why don't you go somewhere else? We just enjoyed where we were going, okay? Just like many other people. And then again, I'm starting to think that a lot of people out there now are full of shit with what they're saying. Oh, no, we love Disney. I think these are all full of shit. I'm going to tell you something. But that's my opinion. Here's one that's not full of shit, okay? I'm telling you like it is. But the fact that we've done all this over the years, and to be treated in such a way, and we're just supposed to sit here and take that. I'm certainly not going to take it. And I don't think neither is my husband. I says we're going to have to either do something else, or we're just going to have to heave-ho this whole thing. We will keep with us the memories, photos, videos, and everything else that we had for the last 29 years. We have that to look back on. We have that to hold on to. Is it good? Probably not. But that was a Disney that once was. We will never see that again, obviously. We're never going to go back to that again. And the next time, like I said, see, is also a little while back, I says, you know, the next time we go down there, I told my husband, you're not going to recognize anything. A lot of stuff is going to change, and it is changing. But at the same time, Disney is pulling the rug out from everybody. They're pulling the rug out from everybody. The disability access pass, they changed one word. Big deal. You think that's going to matter? That's not going to matter. That's not going to matter. I think they're still going to be going through a lot of heartache. People trying to get the pass. I do not see that many people, and I've noticed this now, because I watch everything. I've noticed a lot of people, there are not too many wheelchairs. There are not too many scooters anymore like usual. Okay? And I got clipped in the back of the shin. I got clipped in the back of the heel a few times, being almost run over by them. I know how that is. But there are not too many people that are wheelchair accessible in those parks. Okay. Paging Mr. Morrow, and I'm going to bring him up. I watched his video from Disney Springs the other day. You can make up all the excuses you want, okay? He was at Disney Springs. This was at nighttime. He was going for dinner at T-Rex, a place where me and my husband absolutely love. The whole vibe of Disney Springs, there was no one there. There was no crowds. And I noticed that Mr. Morrow had to, he says it in such a way, oh, well, it's a very light crowd tonight. There's nobody there, okay? There is nobody there. Stop lying. And I'm going to point something else out. PC Dev, I watched his video last night. He came out with a new video of a question and answer session for himself. And people got to ask questions, and then he made the video and he's answering what he picked as far as questions are concerned. He even mentioned that the Disney content is very light nowadays. In other words, it's not doing well at all. I mean, everybody sees this. You're going to have to go for another source of something. And then when Epic Universe opens, that's when everybody's going to flock, obviously. They're all waiting for it, okay? The thing that I got to watch out for with Disney content creators with that is I keep a close eye, because I notice that they nitpick. It's like they're looking for something to nitpick so that Disney, because Disney watches everything also. And I know probably Disney watches the content creators of what they're saying about, the opposing team against Disney. But I notice how content creators are. They're wording things different. They're being very careful with what they're saying and how they're saying it. Listen, when I know a person's full of shit, I know when you're full of shit. I mean, I can see right through it. You have to do that because you want to still make it good with the original people who you're supposed to be sticking with. But then you're going over here because, let's say, if they get invited, so what are they supposed to do? They're going to go anyway. See, it's very enticing to do that because now you have to play the field for both sides. It's just a shit. You know what? Let me tell you something. That is a real shit job if you have to do that and go back and forth and play both sides like that. You're playing both sides of the coin. You're flipping the coin a lot. It's just a sham. It is really just a sham. The whole state of Florida, I think, is just a sham. It's not even funny. It's a sick joke. It really is. Do something else better with your times. Do something else. Just it's just ridiculous. But anyhow, now that I'm done with this rant, I hope you enjoyed it. I had to have a beer for the event. I had to sit and hang out with me. I hope you enjoyed this part. I am now out of breath. I'm getting annoyed. I think I need an aspirin. I don't know if I'm getting a headache. You shouldn't have an aspirin with beer. Don't do that, by the way. But I'm just going to subdue myself and take it in. It's an absolute shit show. The quarterly investors meetings are just a joke. They really are. I mean, if these investors think that they're going to make back at least half of their money of what they put into this company, they have another thing coming. It's just a sham. I think that Disney and Bob Iger just string people along. That's what they're doing, is stringing people along. They're making excuses so that it sounds good to you so that you would hang on with them, and then they just take it from there and string you along. It's just a big lie. It really is. It's very sad. But anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your views. Let me know your comments below. Let me know. I am now out of breath. I will talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow I'll go out. Like I said, I didn't go out today. I just felt like staying home and waiting for my package. So talk to you soon. Happy Thursday evening. Please get some sleep. Love to all. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.